So in the last two lessons, we learned how to use this table for finding probability of a normally distributed variable. We have discussed that this probability distribution is very symmetrical. We've discussed that if we're using the table, then the mean of the distribution needs to be 0, and the standard deviation of the distribution needs to be 1. Okay. Then we learned how to use the table for cases like probability x is, let's say, less than 1.2, then probability x is greater than, in fact, it's supposed to be equals to, look, it says equals to here. So equals to 1.2. Then it could be probability x is less than and equals to negative 1.2. Probability x is greater than equals to negative 1.2. Then probability x is in between two values, for example, 1.2 and 1.4. Then probability x is in between a negative value and a positive value. And probability, the variable, it's not x, sorry, it's supposed to be z. Because in normal distribution, the variable is represented by z. And probability z is in between two negative values. So we did all of this in the last two lessons. Now today, what we'll do is we will find cases like this. Probability z is less than x equals to, you'll be given the probability, for example, 0.6064. And then you'll have to use the table and find what is the value of x for which the probability is 0.6064. Okay, so I'm going to copy such questions on the board. Okay, so the first question is find x such that probability z is less than x equals to 0.67. Okay. Now, before I use the table, I'm going to visually take a look at it. Here's the distribution. X is some value, so that the probability is 0.67. Okay, so that means x has to be some positive value, because this probability would be 0.67. Why am I saying that? Because I know that this is 0.5 probability. This is half of the curve. This is half of the area under the curve. So that's 0.5. So if it's 0.67, then it has to be towards the right of 0. We have 0 over here. Remember, the mean is 1. So x is some positive value. All right, now let's use the table and find that value. So where is the probability equals to 0.67? Use the table to find 0.67. Here it is. Here probability is 0.67. Okay, so that would make x 0.44. 0.4 from here and 4 from here. So x should be equals to 0.44. That's the answer for, let's call it part A. You must always check whether this value x is going to be positive or negative, and then read the value from the table. Okay, part B. Probability z is less than t equals 0.8780. Again, since this is greater than 0.5 as well, so that t is going to be somewhere over here. Because this probability is, the total probability is 1. So this is pretty close to 1.8780. So t is some positive value. This is what we know. Since it's greater than The probability is greater than 0.5. So it has to be towards the right of 0. Okay, now let's use the table and find where we get this probability 0.8780. 0.87, we have 8770, and then we have 8790. So that means we need to add 10 to this. So we'll have to use 1.1 and 6 and then add 10 to the last two values. So here's 10. So then we also use this 5. So the probability is, the value is going to be 1.165. So T should be equals to 1.165. Part C. That is probability Z is less than U equals 0.9842. This is even closer to 1. So it's also a positive value because the probability is very close to 1. So U is somewhere over here. So that the probability Z is less than U is very big, 0.9842. Okay, so it's a positive value, so we don't need to make any adjustments. And let's read the table. Where's 0.9842 or something very close to it? 0.98 is here. And we have 0.9842 exactly. So this is going to be 2.1, 2.15, yes. So U will be equals to 2.15. Part D is probability Z is less than V equals 0.5. Okay. So 0.5 probability is halfway. So you don't even have to use the table for this one. This is that probability. So V must be 0. We already know that because in the middle, the value is 0. Or even if you read from here, where's the probability 0.5? Right here. So that's 0.00, which is just 0. So V equals 0. Okay. Next is part E. Which is probability Z is less than X is equals to 0.0031. Now this is a very small probability. Probability Z is less than X is 0.0031. This means that this X is somewhere over here. It's a negative value because probability Z is less than X is very small. So it is less than 0.5. That means it's somewhere at the negative side. So X is negative. So you must have this in your mind that X is negative. Now, if X is negative, we cannot directly use the table to get us this value. How do we find this probability? We use the symmetrical property of
1 minus 3 और उससे पीछे जो
yes,
symmetrical का
yes. We need this area or this probability. So we're going to use 1 minus probability z is less than, now this is the positive x. That one was, this one was negative. Now this one is positive. So we have to find this probability instead and equate it to 0.0031. Now make probability z is less than x the subject. So 1 minus 0.0031 is 0.9969. Now you're going to use the table to find this probability. I mean, to find the value that gives this probability. So where do we have 0.9969 or something very close to this? 0.9969 is exactly here. So that is 2.74. So x is 2.74. In fact, I think we should call this x1 because this is positive. So then the original x is going to be the same value, but with the negative sign, minus 2.74. This should be the final answer. You can call it y, you can call it z, no, not z. Z has already been used. So just remember, whatever you get, you must change its sign. I mean, you must make it negative because we've already established at the start that x is negative since the probability is less than 0.5. Part F. Its probability v is greater than m equals 0.0071. Let's see. Going to draw the distribution. No, it's 0 here. Okay. Z is greater than m is a small number, 0.0071. So it should be somewhere over here, very close to this end. So it's m is some positive value. Because now it's z is greater than m. So you have to shade the right side of the line. And it's a very small value. That means m is pretty close to the end of the graph. Okay. So we cannot use the table for greater than case. So we're going to change it to 1 minus probability z is less than m. And it's going to be 0.0071. So what we did, we subtracted this from 1. So that gives us probability z less than m should be equals to 1 minus 0.0071, which gives 0.9929. Okay. So where is 0.9929 or something where we have
2.45
2.45. It's 2.45. So m should be equals to 2.45. Part G, probability z is greater than t is equals to 0.1194. Okay. So again, it's greater than, so we shade this part. and the probability is small. So again, that is also going to be very close to the right end of the graph. So 0, this is t, and t is positive again. We cannot use the table when z is greater than something. Instead, we can use the table to find this when z is less than t and subtract it from 1. So 1 minus probability z is less than t is equals to 0.1194. So probability z is less than t equals 1 minus 0.1194, which is 0.8806. Okay, let's find exactly this or something close to it. 8806. So 88 is here. So we don't have exactly 8806. We have 8810 and we have 8790. Okay, but I need something close to 0.8806. So what do I need to add to 0.8790? What do I add to this? 0.8,
0.8810 ज्यादा क्लोज नहीं है.
इसमें कुछ ऐड करते हैं ना. You can add these values.
ठीक है मैम.
ठीक है. What do we need to add to it so that we get 0.8806?
16 ऐड करना पड़ेगा. वो है 8.
Huh. So do we have 16? Yes, we do. So when we add 16 here, we get exactly that. So the value is going to be 1.178. So T is going to be 1.178.
मैम इस चैप्टर में सिर्फ डाटा मोबिलिटी यूज करना होता है. मतलब कि कुछ याद तो नहीं करना होता भी.
आ, देखो, ग्राफ बहुत अच्छी तरह समझ आना चाहिए क्योंकि इसमें हम बहुत कुछ कर रहे होते हैं क्वेश्चन में, लेकिन वो कॉन्सेप्ट ही है कि ये सिमेट्रिक है. ठीक है.
ठीक है मैम.
और थोड़ी बहुत और भी चीजें हैं, लेकिन यस, रिवीजन बहुत जरूरी है और कंसिस्टेंसी बहुत जरूरी है. कुछ अर्से अगर इसको नहीं नहीं पढ़ोगे, दोबारा इसको करोगे तो ज्यादा टाइम लगेगा रिकॉल करना.
ठीक है मैम.
ओके, सो 1.178 आ गया फॉर टी. नेक्स्ट इज probability z is greater than n equals to 0.9747. Okay, now this is different. Let's see. Is the n positive value or is n a negative value? Okay. So we need to shade right side of the line that we make. If this is the line, this cannot be 0.9747 because I know that this area is 0.5 or this probability is 0.5. So I need to go towards the left-hand side of 0. So I'm going to make a vertical line over here and n would be somewhere over here. So that all this area or all this probability is 0.9747 because we know the maximum probability is 1. So this would be 1. So we're now very close to the left end of the graph. So that means n is negative. So let's write n is negative as a reminder. Okay. So we cannot use the table if n is negative. Instead, what we'll do, we will find this area or this probability using the table. So we can say probability Z is less than N would be the same, 0.9747. And then we'll get an N and then we'll make it negative. Okay. So this one is positive. You can write a small positive as a reminder. Okay. So where is the probability 0.9747? 97, we don't have 9747. We have
1.9.
we have 0.9744, but we can add 3 to it to get 0.9747. Where is the 3? Here. So
5.
it's going to be 1.955. So N positive is going to be 1.955, but the actual N is going to be negative 1.955. Another such practice. Probability Z is greater than K is 0.8496. Greater than साइड है, that means यहाँ कहीं, let's say अगर मैं कह रही हूँ कि ये वो value है K की, so this cannot be 0.8496 because this area is less than 0.5 because this is supposed to be 0.5. So that means K is some value at the left of 0. We have 0 here. So K is somewhere over here. Now it makes sense that this region or this probability is 0.8496. Okay, so we know K is negative. So the table cannot be directly read. Instead, we're going to find this K and then later change it into a negative constant. Okay, so probability Z is less than K, now this K is positive, is going to be the same, 0.8496. Do we have this? 8496. No, we have 8485. So what do we add to it?
M11 तो नहीं है इसमें right side में इसके.
0.8485. Okay, if you don't have 11, look for a value smaller than 11. So what can we add? Add this 9. Okay, so add 9. 0.4 here, 9 here, 4 here, 8 here. So we did not get 9.6, but we got 9.4. So we'll use that. So we get 1.034. So K positive is 1.034. So the actual K is going to be negative 1.034. So now what we've learned is that if you cannot form the exact probability, you form the smallest possible probability. I mean, the one closer to it, but can't use the bigger value, you need to use the smaller value. Okay. Next is double inequality. probability. There's minus x here, z here, and x here, and you're told that this is 0.9. So now we shade towards the left and the right of 0. So positive x would be somewhere over here, negative x would be somewhere over here, and this region has probability of 0.9. Okay. These bars, in fact, should be pretty close to the ends because 90% area is being covered. Somewhere over here. Okay. Okay. Now, let's use the rule we studied yesterday. If it's minus x and x on both sides, what you do is, let me just write the general rule. Probability minus a less than z less than b becomes phi a plus phi b minus 1. So in this case, it's going to be phi x plus again phi x minus 1. It's going to be 2 phi x minus 1 is equals to 0.9. So then phi x is equals to 1.9 divided by 2, which is 0.95. Okay, so now you're finding probability z is less than x equals to 0.95. Okay, so do we have 0.95? No, but we can get 0.95. Let me slightly zoom in. Okay, so we can get 0.95 if we add 5 to this. So 0.9495, need to add 5 to it. Here's that 5. So it's going to be 1.645. So x should be equals to 1.645. Okay. Next. Next is similar one, probability. Let me slightly zoom in first. So probability minus t to t, z is between this is 0.8. Okay. So again, we're going to use the same formula, which is phi t plus phi t minus 1 is equals to 0.8. So 2 phi t equals 1.8. So phi t would be equals to 0.9. That means probability z is less than t is equals to 0.9. Do we have 0.9 exactly here or not? No, but we can add 3 to this. So where's the 3? There's no 3. So instead, we'll add 2. We can't go beyond that probability. You can stay slightly beneath that probability. So it's going to be 1.36, no, sorry, 1.381. So T will be equals to 1.381. Why does it say 1.281? Oh, it's supposed to be here. 1.2. So 1.281. Next is I think we've had enough practice of this. अब अगली बात
एक
करते
और करा दे एक और क्वेश्चन करा दे थोड़ा सा ताकि प्रैक्टिस सही हो जाए।
अच्छा ठीक है इसी टाइप की ये जो
ठीक
माइनस
है
टी और टी है ओके
ये थोड़ी कंफ्यूज कर रही है माइनस टी और टी वाली तो।
अच्छा देखो ये फॉर्मूला यूज करना है जब आपके पास प्रोबेबिलिटी माइनस ए टी इस बीच में जी है और लेफ्ट साइड पे बी है तो हमने कल डिस्कस किया था कि ये इक्वल हो जाता है इसकी पहले लिखते हैं प्रोबेबिलिटी z इज लेस देन a जिसको मैं फाई a लिख ली थी इट्स द सेम थिंग और फिर प्लस होती है इसके लिए इसकी प्रोबेबिलिटी z is less than b which I was calling phi b and then you subtract 1 from it that's the rule okay so since they're both the same so then you write phi a plus phi a minus 1 अभी इतना बड़ा लिखने के बजाय ना the shortcut is to write phi a so then it becomes 2 phi a minus 1 and you equate it to whatever the probability is given and then you send 1 to the other side divide it with 2 and whatever is the value you get you find that in the table so let's see if this value is equals to uh, 0.6484 then what will you do we will write phi sorry this is also supposed to be a so you have to find the value of a तो अब क्या करेंगे आप लिख लोगे 2 phi a minus 1 is equals to that so add 1 to it and then divide it with 2 it becomes 0.82335 ज्यादा ही बड़ी वैल्यू हो गई going to round it off to this अभी क्वेश्चन क्योंकि मैंने खुद से बनाया इसलिए इतना बड़ा है वरना 4 dp का ही आता है okay so let's find the probability which is close enough to this 0.8234 so we have 0.8238 then we have 0.8212 what do we need to add to it to get 0.8234
22
22 so we have 22 we don't but
20 है
we have 20 so we're going to use 0.9 2 and then 8 so that means a will be equals to 0.9 2 and 8 ठीक है समझ
ठीक
आया
है यस मैम
चलो इंशाल्लाह कल इससे आगे करेंगे ठीक है आई थिंक बस
अल्लाह हाफिज
एक आध लेसन रह गया एंड देन वी कैन स्टार्ट द पास्ट पेपर क्वेश्चंस ऑन दिस बल्कि नहीं 2 लेसन्स रहते ऑलराइट
ठीक
टेक
है
केयर अल्लाह हाफिज
मैम